Hey crew, Mark Hadmaker here. Let's talk some old school mobility, flexibility, and a concept called TMC, Tango Mike Charlie. Most flexibility work that we do today has to do with passive flexibility. We think of yoga asanas, relaxing the stretch, try and you'll get to the tensile length of the muscle, and then we kind of relax and breathe into it a little further. And what we think is the modern yoga tradition, there might be some you wiggle room back and forth, a little bit of tension applied, like with PNF stretching. What was happening often in the old school parlance, we're talking way back early physical cultures, was actually working tension under a load. If you think about it, you would approach your stretching the same way you would approach your strength training. So when you think about taking about, let's say, your personal best in a back squat, and I'm going to put 10 more pounds in the bar. If I gave you a muscle relaxer 20 minutes before that back squat, you think that's probably a bad idea, because we know we need good inter-abdominal pressure, we need good bracing of the core and stuff to be able to support that weight. It'd be the same thing with the back squat or deadlift. We know that we want to have good bracing going on. There's tension that needs to be applied even in areas where we're not actively working to see, like we're doing the back squat, we're thinking, quads, hips, and glutes and stuff, but we still pretty much need that tension throughout the core. If I gave you the muscle relaxer, you're endangering yourself, likely leading to injury. The old school thought on mobility / flexibility training is not far off from that as well. They felt like relaxing into a stretching position was to your detriment. And hence, early yoga was on to this wise idea as well, because we can't forget Eugen Sandow, considered by many the father of physical culture, of early bodybuilding. We're talking, turn of the last century. He made a tour of India to move around to hawk his wares and do his posing demonstrations. And many young Indian men and women, young Indian athletes, fell into the sway of that and were entranced by what he was able to build with his body. And they also started combining it with their own yogic practices. And then you look at all the yoga manuals from that time. Many of them, when you see the strapped and vigorous young bucks out there who are also getting some great muscular development, they were applying the same idea through their tradition of the yoga asanas. Even though the asana may look like the relaxation postures we have now, they most definitely were not being done the same way. They're being done in the Sandow way, where there was tension applied, this TMC, or this tonic muscular contraction, or tonic muscle contraction. I'm going to give you a little example. Our newest product in Athletic Whole Hog Conditioning, where we just dive deep into the old school conditioning. Block 6 is all about, we give you a 31-point TMC program to help improve your flexibility and mobility, but only using these TMC principles. There's nothing passive about it. If you're doing it right, you'll be popping a sweat. We also have the Tactical 9 in there, the AKA TAC 9 in there, which is a 9-minute fat torching thing for those who don't have time to do combat rounds on a particular day or do your warrior walking, which we highly recommend those. So the TAC 9 is on there. But the self-test, to check for yourself, we'll do something off of one side. Let's say we'll pick usually hamstrings and lower back are usually really tight for people. The 31-point TMC runs through 31 different, we'll call them postures, we want asanas, but they're really points of tension to make something work. So you get yourself a bench, the side of the bed, or a table, what have you. I want you to bend over and you touch the toes, or if you can go all the way with your knees locked, touch the floor with your palms, what have you. Reach, but the thing is, don't pull, don't spread. See where you are on that particular moment. This is best to get this fresh out of bed, so whenever you're kind of like all drawn up, and you're less flexible at that time. Then I want you to have a seat on a bench. You're going to extend one leg with the heel that comes off the end of the bench. Don't leave it on top of it. The heel comes off the end of the bench, and you're sitting here naturally. And we're going to be working on both the hallux with the big toe, the muscles behind it, the Achilles tendon, and a bit of the hamstring. And remember, this is just one. We're going to give you two bits out of the 31 point, and there's even more that applies to the hamstring. But how some of these concepts will work. First is we want to make sure we mechanically focus on what we've got. If I was just sitting on the floor with both legs straight out in front of me, both of them are kind of giving me a little bit of they give me a stop, because the flexibility of this one, if I want to work on this one leg, even if this was folded in and I'm sitting on the ground, it still gives me some stop at point. Throwing this leg off the side allows me to get better leverage to fight just against this. Now, what's important to this whole bit is I'm going to be reaching over the top, and I want to curl the toes down, but particularly that big toe. I want to curl the big toe down towards the floor as far as possible. Get a 90-degree bend out of that toe towards down as much as I can. The other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to keep this knee somewhat, it's locked, and I'm going to keep the lumbar curve in this back the whole time. Any rounding whatsoever is not doing it correctly. We must keep lumbar curve, reach over the top, get that 90-degree bend. I want you to lean forward to right where you feel a little bit of the stretch of the muscle. Stop right there. Then all I want you to think about doing is as hard as you can, with applying resistance with the offhand. You're trying to push that toe through the sky. It's not you trying to pull it, so even though it looks like I'm pulling myself down, you are not pulling down at all. You are not stretching anything. You're giving downward pressure with this hand to keep this big toe to 90-degree back and pushing up as hard as you can. Now you're going to do that for 30 seconds. I want you to think about how much tension are you applying. If I had you do it for a full minute, you would start sweating. So you want to find that level of tension and then start driving through as hard as possible. Keep the lumbar curve the whole way. Don't even think about trying to go, I'm stretching my leg. You're not thinking at all. You're just thinking about making that toe open up for that full 30 seconds. Once that 30 seconds is done, release it. That's just a mnemonic. You're going to reach out and grab your ankle. You're not doing any pulling whatsoever. Maintain that lumbar curve. And what I want you to think about now, while you maintain the lumbar curve, lean forward to right where you feel, oh, this would start to feel like a stretch, and people would have you stop and breathe and see if you can go lower. No, 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 no. Keep the lumbar curve. I want you to think about that heel being, with that leg straight, being swung through to the planet. I want you to heel kick the core of the planet. So you're leaning forward and just maximum tension for 30 seconds, hard as you can. Make that sweat pop. Put that heel into the core of the planet. And again, the order here is essential. We want to get that big toe work in first. We're not even thinking about that hamstring. You're just pulling on that big toe, pulling on that hallux, and then the next one is that heel moves to the bottom. After you've done these, you can stand up, do the bend over again, and see if you already feel a difference, particularly in that one leg you work. Now, clearly, you want to work both sides all the time, but this gives you a chance to use a little bit of a unilateral test to figure out what's going on. Again, there's 31 of these. That's just 2, but in a nutshell, the idea is moving to sweat popping, things that look like yogic asanas, but they ain't. Many of them, you won't find any asana work whatsoever because some of them have a lot of odd subtleties to them. Some of them can look like it, but you got to make the adjustments where we're going for maximum TMC. Again, that tonic muscular contraction. And again, that's all on the Unleaded Whole Hog Block 6 in the conditioning material, which also includes that 9-minute Tactical 9 fat burner set, which is about 9 specific, go figure, 9 functional exercises that we like to think that really work out well for your functional movement. I mean, ideally, combat rounds are the way to go, but if you're not a combat athlete, we need ways to turn up that torch as high as possible, and no burpees involved, whatever this, because again, that's not really something that you do out there in a fight or flight situation. We want things that mimic what you might actually have to do and still providing the effects, so we'll kind of keep a little bit of movement specificity in there as well. Anyway, if you give those 2 a shot, and I like to think that you might already find there already is a difference, but if you think about how these things are moving from head to toe or vice versa, and moving all through the change and applying all this TMC, you can in one session already feel the body open up and give you what you want, let alone get the fact you're getting strength within the holes, which means you're providing injury protection, because most of the time as a combat athlete or as a human being, whenever you get stretched or pulled muscles, because it was taken to its limit under load. It's not under passivity. It's not like you're rolling around wrestling, you're doing a nice deep breathe while someone's stretching your arm out for you, or someone's lays you down gently. You're being thrown around, you're being hit, you get a juke and jive. So we need to make sure that we're applying strength at these maximum positions. And this TMC gives that to you. If you're doing them all, I think within 10 to 14 days, if you're doing them, each and every day, you're going to be amazed about how much there is a bit of a gain in the flexibility. The mobility opens up a bit if you've got bad hot spots in there from some injuries. It's not guaranteed all injuries go away, but we help you reset in the proper position to move things out. There's a lot of work in the rotator cuff area, the hips and knees and stuff. Keep in mind, I'm 7, 8 years now dodging hip replacement surgery, doing this sort of stuff. Right now, I feel like I'm doing things that they said, you're not going to be able to do that. Yeah, I'm doing it, so there you go. Anyway, get any information, more curiosity about it, have a look at our website. You can take a look at that product. We've also released a podcast on this, give you even more scientific in the weeds with it. And over at our blog, the same thing. You use some in the weeds science, so you make the judge for yourself. The main thing, give that test a shot. That's just 2 out of 31, and ask yourself, If you already feel a difference out of that, imagine what the remainder of it just might do for you. Anyway, I hope you found that of interest, and here comes my thumb.